What's going on, y'all? Y'all tuned in to another episode of What's Up with 80 West. I am your host, 80 West. Make sure y'all follow, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And like I previously stated, this is an interactive podcast. Y'all can hit me up on IG, Facebook, What's Up with 80 West. Drop those questions and we'll shout y'all out. Let us know where y'all from and we'll shout your city out too. Today, we are talking about the firing of Ryan Clark, ESPN analyst, and Cam Newton as well. Now, there's been a lot of speculations about these firings, and we're getting to the bottom of was the termination disrespectful? I quite honestly feel that it was. You don't have a person show up to their job and 10 minutes before they clock out, you fire them. I think that's kind of lame. And I think it even goes on a bigger scale. I mean, we all know what's going on here. They try to clean house, getting rid of Ryan Clark. And let's not forget, y'all, Ryan Clark is an Emmy award-winning analyst. So this isn't just some chum. This man helped make, NFL Game Day what it is, First Take what it is. You know what I mean? He did a lot of good things for ESPN. And I feel like he's being blackballed, man. You get a lot of people in the comments talking about the platforms being used to discuss other things. Look, here's the deal, man. And I'm going to just be straight up with y'all. A lot of times brothers get put in these positions because of their charisma, because of their knowledge, because of their education, because they got charm. They have things that attract the people. And then once they get the people in, the higher-ups feel like we can swap some things out now that we've got our place to a certain status, but we can't forget who makes the status what it is. Now, I know a lot of people have a problem with Stephen A. Smith, as far as, just the antics and the things of this nature. A lot of people don't like the way that he goes about in certain things or what have you. But Stephen A. Smith put a lot of people on. He put a lot of people on, man. First Take is the biggest sports talk show in the country. And Stephen A. Smith is the host of that. And he put Cam Newton on. You get what I'm saying? And him and Ryan Clark, good colleagues, in the whole nine. I really feel like when the brothers get a platform, man, they don't want us to discuss anything outside of what the platform was designed for. And if any of you all familiar with Ryan Clark, y'all know Ryan Clark don't bite his tongue about nothing. If he sees injustice, he speaks on it, as he should, like as we all should. A lot of people want to turn the blind eye when things are going on and don't want to speak on certain things. Ryan Clark isn't one of them people. And I think we're seeing something where they want him just to shut up and do his job. And he's a man first. And as men, we got to understand that you're a man first, you stand on something. If you know something's going on that ain't right and you speak on it and people want to hush you, it's because they don't want things to get exposed. You feel what I'm saying? And Ryan Clark has no problem with it. Now, he going to be all right. The man is an ex-NFL player. His show, The Pivot, is doing numbers. He probably making more off The Pivot than he was off ESPN. Sponsors ain't pulled out on him or none of that. But I just think it's kind of crazy that an Emmy award-winning analyst don't even have the respect to get terminated properly, which further lets me know that there was some underlying issues, some underlying situations. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't want to quite frankly, they didn't want to confront him like a man, so they pulled some sucker shit. And it's the powers that be. It's the powers that be. It's always the powers that be. They want to hush you, just like when the lady told LeBron, shut up and dribble, right? They don't want us to use our platforms to speak on things that they know is going on blatantly in front of their face, but they scared to expose themselves. They scared to expose their people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where we at. Because how the hell y'all gonna fire Ryan Clark, fire Cam Newton, but then $100 million proposal for Pat McAfee? Who the fuck watches Pat McAfee? Nobody watches that shit. I've seen that show probably twice, and the only reason why I seen it because it come on right after First Take. So it was one of them things where First Take went off and the Pat McAfee show came on. No knock on Pat McAfee, but ain't nobody tuning in to ESPN for Pat McAfee. They tune in for First Take. They tune in for NFL Live. And you let these brothers build y'all company up, and then y'all want to get rid of them. Cam gonna be all right too. He got 4-1. Shout out to Cam Newton. A lot of these brothers, bring the entertainment to these businesses and these shows. And what they do is they build these platforms up for these people, and these people make millions and millions of dollars. And then when you no longer have a use, they get rid of you. You're useless. They use you until you are fucking useless. And that's the problem with a lot of this shit. I feel like with all these millionaires that we got, all these black millionaires and billionaires and all that, we gotta have our own sports network show, man. What would ESPN be without none of them brothers is there? A bunch of dudes a couple of dudes that played the game, and a couple of them, the rest of the people ain't never touched a ball a day in their life. Whether we talking about hoops, whether we talking about, football, you know what I'm saying? You get a couple of baseball analysts out there that have, I mean, let's be real though. Let's be real though. The billions and billions of dollars that these NFL teams make, these NBA teams make, are on the backs of brothers, man. These same with these shows, ESPN, First Take, NFL Live, and all of that. They built on the back of brothers, man. Adam Schefter ain't never played no goddamn football. He reports some stuff. He good with the report. But I mean, come on, man. I really don't want to hear it from a brother that ain't did it. That's why the best in the NBA could have did was have Tracy McGrady and Carmelo and Vince Carter and them boys. You know what I'm saying? Keep the repetition flowing to people who actually did it. If I was looking for NA meetings and I was on drugs, I wouldn't want my drug counselor to be somebody who never was on drugs. If you going through divorce, you don't want your marriage counselor to be someone who was never married. They can identify with the shit that's really going on. Skip Bayless talk a lot of sports. If you ever see the Skip Bayless highlight, I'll wait. You know what I'm saying? Now, I done seen some of the other cats that they can really get down. You know what I'm saying? We watched the guys that can really get down. Ryan Clark was one of them dudes that really put his life on the line for the game. For the game. Sacrificed his limbs, sacrificed his mind, body, and soul for the game. And then was able to make the transition over to being an analyst. And he was a damn good analyst as well, too. Why y'all fired that man? Because y'all didn't like what he had to say? Y'all didn't like that man was speaking the truth? Y'all want to hush everybody, man. Cam Newton is another one. You can't hush Cam. As many antics as Cam got, and people have a problem with this and that, man, Cam is straightforward. Cam be straightforward. He bring it to you. Now, I didn't approve of him having old boy on his show and old boy disrespected Stephen A. when Stephen A. put Cam on. That's a topic for another discussion. But outside of that, I mean, it is what it is. You feel what I'm saying? But with these platforms, what we're able to do with these platforms, and I say we, I know, there's levels to all of this, but level to level, we still out for the same objective, which is to bring entertainment and sports information or bring current event information to y'all in a lingo that people where we come from can understand it. Everything ain't always meant for everybody. So you got lanes, right? So this is a lane, and this lane, you take former athletes, whether they were pro athletes or college athletes or people that's been around the game and then those people reiterate what's taking place on the field, or they analyze, things that are taking place on the basketball court or on the baseball field or what have you. And it usually comes from a place of some pretty good knowledge if the experience was there. You see what I'm saying? So when you get a guy like Cam Newton, who actually played the game, who was actually an NFL MVP, a guy who made it to the Super Bowl, a guy who, let's just keep it real, he had an electrifying career. He wasn't a Tom Brady, but he wasn't built to be a Tom Brady. He was built to be Cam Newton. You see what I'm saying? And there was things that man did when he did that was electrifying. When he was on the field, it was must-see TV. Let's just keep it a buck. It was must-see TV. So when you get a guy like that, and he's giving his input on something that he done put his whole life into, how can we negotiate that? How can we argue that? You see what I'm saying? I'd rather hear it coming straight from the source than from a dude who just watched the game. I watched the game and I don't want to hear, man, I played football. I stopped playing football when I turned 40. That was my last year putting on gear. I've been coaching football for 24 years. I think I'm qualified to speak on some motherfucking football. You see what I'm saying? Now, of course, there's levels to it. But I feel like I got a fairly decent amount of knowledge of the game to be able to give my input, you know. And you don't let people go like that. You don't let people go like that. I feel Ryan Clark got an unfair shake. I feel that for him to have given ESPN what he's given ESPN, he deserves a better send-off. And they did it to humiliate him. There was 10 minutes left in the show, man. 10 minutes left in the show, and y'all let this brother go. 10 minutes, he couldn't finish the gig. Did he do something egregious? Did he talk about a certain group of people? Did he disrespect a certain ethnicity? Did he talk about people's gender? Did he do any of those things that was just egregious for y'all to let that man go? I ain't feeling it, y'all, and it just to me, I feel like it's a disrespectful termination. I feel like it's some brothers. I feel like this is an opportunity where Stephen A. Smith probably could have stepped in. I will say that. For you to be the face, basically, of ESPN, let's just keep it a buck. Stephen A. Smith is the face of ESPN. Let's just keep it a buck. I don't think there's nobody at ESPN bigger than Stephen A. Smith. Let's just keep it a buck. I think there should have been some leverage involved, but I mean, they writing his checks. And then so that's where you get the people that feel some type of way about it. You know, is you standing on business? Is your integrity bigger than the bag? All those things start coming into question when you got people in position of power and then other people flex who really got the power, right? So all in all, Ryan Clark gonna be good, man. Hey, man, blessings and prosperous journey, man, on everything else that man got going for it. Him and Cam Newton, like I said, their podcast is probably bigger than what they was doing on ESPN anyways. I just think that it was lame. It was a chicken shit way to terminate a man that gave y'all all of what he gave y'all. Man, y'all drop a comment in there, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Was the termination disrespectful, or do you think it was just? Do you think that they're cleaning house with all the brothers to put some other people on to look more like them? I don't see how Pat McAfee can get a $100 million proposal. No shade on him. I don't feel that he brings anything to the table like what Ryan Clark brings to the table. The man came to work drunk, y'all. Drunk as hell. And they ain't had no problem with that. That man came to work drunk as hell one day. I remember that on ESPN vividly. He was drunk as hell in the whole nine. And all that got swept under the rug. But the brothers speak up on things that take place. And y'all want to go with the anti-woke theory as far as, you know, what you guys are looking for. I call bullshit. It is what it is, man. They used this man up until he was useless. They got everything they could get from that man, blew the ratings up, and then they disrespectfully terminated him. Y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. What's up with 80 West? Y'all tap in. Yeah.